stops.
Fucking drive, Jackie.
Come on, bitch! Hey, order crop.
So at the time of recording this, Cyberpunk has been out for around 15 or 16 hours. If you look at the internet, this is the largest game launch, I think, ever. Like, it trumped everything day one launch on Steam. It had over 1 million people concurrently playing on Steam alone. It had over 1 million people on Twitch viewing the game. It was insane. I chose not to stream it because I know most of my viewers are playing it themselves. They don't want spoilers, so I just said, fuck it, I'll just play it offline by myself, chill with it, get immersed in it, and give you guys my first impressions. So here they are. This is a non-spoiler. I'm not even calling it a review. I just want to talk about my experience in the first 5 or 6 hours of the game that I played last night and a little bit this morning. The game is really, really fun. Right off the bat, this is probably going to be my game of the year, because to be honest, I didn't really play games like Ghost of Tsushima and Last of Us 2. Not a big console guy anymore, and those games didn't really appeal me to dust off the old PlayStation and plug it in. This is something that I've been anticipating for a long time. I'm having a good time with it. There are definitely some glaring issues. I'm playing it on PC. We'll get into the PC specs and all that stuff in a little bit. If you are looking to buy this game on a PlayStation 4 base edition or like a base Xbox One, I urge you to do a lot more research, look into patches that are dropping, because right now the game is a fucking disaster on last gen tech. And I know a lot of people, I'm seeing the responses like, of course, you're playing a new game that's meant for next gen. You're playing it on 7-year-old hardware. And that's the excuse to wave it off and yet again give CD Projekt Red the pass. I'm not saying that. I'm saying if you have to get it on last gen tech, I would consider waiting, because 15 FPS, stuttering, optimization issue. The game is not what you're seeing in the trailers if you're buying it on last gen tech. I bought it on PC, obviously, and I've been having a good time with it. Now, granted, I can't even max out with all of the ray tracing and shit like that. This game is a chug. This is the Crisis of this generation. I'm playing it on Ultra, just no ray tracing involved at all. As soon as I put that on, even if I go ray tracing medium preset, whew, she chugs. 2080 Ti, i7 6800K, 32 gigs of RAM. The CPU, I think, is what's holding me back. I think after playing this, I think it's time to upgrade the PC, build a new one, and get the state-of-the-art shit. But in terms of the story, the world building, and everything else that you're going to get at the beginning of a game like this, I'm really enjoying the narrative. One thing that I find when I play RPGs is I'm either in the game, in the story, or I'm just playing it for, the questing and the leveling up and doing everything outside of that. I haven't skipped a single cutscene in this game. That being said, when I first started it, it jumped right into the game. I don't know if there's an intro cinematic that set up, my guy's story. I opted to go Nomad. There's 3, choices you can make at the beginning, Nomad, Street Kid, or Corporation. That's really all I knew going into this game. I tried to not watch the Nightwire events and all that other stuff. I wanted to go in and do, I know some people say we can't say this anymore, but I wanted to do a blind playthrough. And go in and experience this game just raw, not knowing anything beforehand. And I've been having a really good time. The story, the characters that they're putting forth so far, I'll just say, Evelyn Parker, I'm still trying to nail who that voice is, because I feel like I know, and that's been I've been going through the credits and trying to figure out who's starring as all these characters. And I'm really into the narrative story that we're getting right now. No spoilers. I'm not even going to go into it. I'm just going to tell you I'm having a good time following the cinematics. And that's something for me that I can't say I really ever do. I find the biggest problem that this game has is It's undercooked. A lot of people were worried about all of this crunch that was going on at CD Projekt Red. Crunch, delay, crunch, delay, crunch, delay. I feel like this game should have had another year in the cooker. And that's not to say that the core gameplay elements aren't good. The gunplay is fucking awesome. I'm loving it. It feels like a more, I would say like a more grounded in reality Borderlands or Division style, but it's FPS. It's so fucking immersive. The stealth kills, everything about the combat I'm loving, which is great. That's another thing I was kind of nervous about. Like sometimes they lack in certain big areas like this when you get into RPGs. Nah, they killed it. I'm loving it. The issue is all the little stuff that was obviously like you didn't have enough time to clean that shit up. It's a lot of mess. And what I mean by that is you'll be walking around, and if you stand at certain angles, the crowds that we saw, like the bustling, metropolis of Night City, sometimes the crowds just like disappear. They just like fade away based on where you're standing. You'll see your character T-posing as you're driving. Like all of that little stuff is like, it's not game breaking by any means, but when you see it like in every cutscene, or sometimes you're talking to somebody and characters will just like come in, glitch through the ground, fade out, and all that unpolished stuff is obviously things you can look over. Like whatever, the game is so huge, there's so much content, and the content so far has been good, so it's not a game breaking thing. That being said, I'm kind of agreeing with some of these review scores out here. Man, 4 out of 5, 7, 8 out of 10. Like I think this is a solid fucking experience. I think if you're buying it, outside of if you have performance issues or you can't run it for reasons A, B, or C, I think you're going to have a good time. If you can get in, get like a decent frame rate, get through some of the optimization and the bug and the mess and the trash shit, I think you're going to have a really good time. The driving in the game is really bad on mouse and keyboard, but as I was sitting there playing it, I'm like, I really can't think of a game that even has good driving on a mouse and keyboard. I grabbed the controller for Assassin's Creed Valhalla when I played it on PC. I didn't do it for Cyberpunk because I'm a shooter guy. I want to play mouse and keyboard. But it's funny, one thing that I did realize through playing it is this game has a lot of similarities to Assassin's Creed in terms of that mess, in terms of the T-posing, the characters fading out. One thing I did notice, the driving when you're like a passenger, the cars sometimes like to like get through the cinematic and like, allow enough time for characters to talk to you and shit, the car will randomly throw on its handbrake. So as you're sitting there listening to like a character talk, the music, you can hear this as your car's like skidding through the streets.
Sweet dreams then.
It's just weird shit like that where you can like physically see where they cut corners to make this game possible type shit, like in the time frame that they were given, even though it was delayed multiple times. It's one of those things where if this game was in the cooker for another year, I think people would be a lot more happy. I would be a lot more happy, but I'm trying to not let those little issues that all stack up to be like, God damn, I'm seeing this a lot type shit. I'm trying not to let that bother me because the game itself, everything around it is really fucking good. The talent trees, I'm starting to just branch out into those, getting different abilities for like shooting assault rifles and being able to like carry more items and leveling up my health and stuff like that. It is an RPG FPS, and I think it's done pretty fucking well. Now, because I'm a live streamer, if I were to stream it on Twitch, I would have to turn off the soundtrack because of DMCA claims and everything else. One thing I was really excited about was hearing the soundtrack that they chose. That's one thing, like when I play Grand Theft Auto, I want to hear the radio stations. I want to see the music that they're putting into the game. This game's awesome. I was expecting a lot more like Vaporwave, Blade Runner style music, but as I'm walking through one of the markets in the game, I can hear a radio playing like death metal mixed with this like Vaporwave, synthwave style. And I was actually pretty stoked to hear that. I kind of just sat there for a while and just listened to it because it was dope as fuck. I'm liking the game, I'm liking the environment, the atmosphere, but I also feel that this game is severely undercooked on platforms that it can run well on, and on base like PlayStations and Xboxes. I honestly, from everything I've seen it dip to like 10, 15 FPS. It's, it ain't looking too hot for you base console. But you know what? In the future, if they drop patches, again, just try to stay informed, try to keep up to date with what CD Projekt Red is doing to bring those up to par. And if they do nothing, then that's a fucking problem. Because in my opinion, I don't think the game should have been sold on the base consoles. And I know there's going to be people with base consoles out there that are going to say, well, I want to experience the game too. And I guess from my perspective, I would much rather experience a good game or not experience it at all. Like, there's no point, in my opinion, of dropping, you know, $60, $70, $80 and then playing a subpar experience. And especially with Cyberpunk, I feel like if you buy the game right now and you can run it, you're going to have a good time. But I also, through playing it so far, I feel like if you missed it, or if you have to wait like 6 months to get like a stable patch on your platform of choice, okay, cool. And maybe that's just because I'm growing up and I don't feel the need to always be new. But I also understand that, like, that is our mentality now as gamers. We are always on to the next thing, So I don't know, man. I'm having a good time with it. I hope you guys are as well. I know that most people watching this video that are already subscribed to me, chances are you guys have already bought the game, or you're going to be buying it like this weekend or Christmas or whatever. You're going to be playing it soon if you haven't done so already. So I just want to give you guys my thoughts on it. I'm having a blast. I'm having a really good time. I'm actually really glad that I opted not to stream it, because I think in watching chat and maybe having them influence decisions and stuff like that, I feel like maybe it would have had an adverse effect. I've really been enjoying just taking a little bit of time and playing the game for myself, and it is immersive as shit. Let me know what you guys think down below. This video was a little bit of a ramble. I wanted to keep it a little bit more concise than this, but I got kind of excited about it. So if you guys enjoyed this video, please leave a like on it. Consider subscribing if you haven't done so already. My name is Big Fry. I hope you guys have a good week, and if you are playing Cyberpunk, I really hope you guys enjoy it. I don't want you coming out of 2020 with another notch on the bullshit belt. We could use a win. And in my opinion right now, playing it on PC, experiencing it on not necessarily the ultraest of graphics, but still pretty high, I consider this game a win. Thank you for watching. My name is Big Fry, and I'll see you on the next one.